Golf's no different from hockey. Requires talent, self-discipline.
Golf requires goofy pants and a fat ass. You should talk to my neighbor, the accountant, probably a great golfer, huge ass.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers? By height.
It's a very, very special honor.
I'm Paula Creamer, and you're listening.
Well, we're waiting.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, a.k.a. John Kreese from Cobra Kai, and you're listening to
Quiet Please.
Let the word go out from here across the land. Let Daddy Noonan approve.
Hi, boys. Nice day for golf, ain't it? Quiet, please. Oh, you got secrets, eh?
Hey, this is Shooter McGavin. You're listening to the...
Hey, you guys. Hey, we're trying to have a podcast over here.
Whoops.
Yep, there you are.
So who might have muted us all?
Don't know.
Okay, let's reboot. Alt Control Delete.
It does mute our mics when the intro is being played, but
well, that was pretty wild. Well, first time that one's ever happened in show history, so we got that going for us as we're being critiqued in the background. Anyway, Alan Depew, Quiet Please, the Golf Podcast. You have found us where we chat about the men and women shaping the game of golf, destinations, all the tours, and I am joined each week by our panel of experts, and I've got the crew here. We're just missing our prettiest podcaster. To my left, Boston Bob Baldessari, hailing from the Bourbon Country. Hello, Bobby.
Oh.
Nice.
What's our number tonight? 15.
it might be 16 by the end of the evening.
I'm going to wicked explode if it goes to 16.
They're double headering here in a minute.
Yeah, they're down a few, but it's early. It's early.
Also joining us, the golfing savant from Houston, Andy Hydorn.
The blacked out face version.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, that's kind of creepy.
Now protection.
Yeah.
And BE is back. Hello, BE.
Hello. Good evening.
So, gentlemen, I'm still experiencing technical difficulties here on the back end. I'm not going to lie. So, why don't we just, while I try to figure this out, Andy, Royal Birkdale.
Royal Birkdale was awesome. It was kind of a strange open in a sense that, I don't know. It looked like the golf course was supposed to be playing more difficult than it did. It was super burned out. And I think when it gets really hard and dry, while it may make, a lot of the runoffs in the fairway more difficult, it makes the rough easier to play out of. And at the end of the day, I think those guys were really experiencing, not a huge amount of trouble off the fairways, or at least immediately off the fairways. I'm not talking about in knee-high fescue, but we can talk about that later.
Your boy Bryce.
I don't know who would have hit it there.
Just saying.
I thought it was interesting that you get some players that can shoot a 62 and have a scoring record, yet on the other side, they're struggling to shoot even one under. So you had to sort of both sides of that equation going. I thought that was really interesting. I think I heard the fairways were stimping at 9, which is that rollout. But then the green complexes were I think they were protecting them just in case it gets windy. And they were stimping, what was it, about 10, 11-ish? But it was interesting. Rory saying visually in playing the fairways, then he had trouble adapting to the greens because the greens were slower in their mind or something. It was, I don't know, it's just a classic Open Championship. Loved it. I just love getting up in the morning watching that thing. I wish every week we could do that. And it just had the classic characteristics of, links golf, true links golf. And people in America think, oh, this is a course XYZ links. No, it's not. It's a throwaway term in America. But that was really, really more the true links.
Yeah, in terms of the conditions, I found myself thinking back to other opens where it wasn't hard and fast and it was more lush and wet and windy. And I don't know which version of an open championship I like better. I like both for sure. But it was just like you guys have all touched on it was just a weird dichotomy of scoring records, like Bobby said, and then guys good players struggling to make the cut. And I think what we saw was a good final outcome with somebody like Orion Fox winning versus some of the more major players that we're always thinking will pull it out.
Look, I think that there were 362s, correct?
Yeah.
3 guys shot 62 on different days, and the total winning score was 10 under.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of says something, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yep. That kind of goes to, my point or my comment, like, how, guys are shooting 62, yet at the aggregate for 4 rounds, 10 under wins. That's amazing.
It is.
So I kind of like, I think we all like the when there's carnage and high winds and that type of atmosphere. But this is fun. This is fun to watch, the unusual bounces, the runouts where they're not expecting a run out, and actually them being able to play shots out of the fescue a little bit.
And the creativity, like some of those bunker shots, you saw it quite a bit where it was right up against the wall. And these guys like laying down or getting one leg in and their knee up. And there were some pretty damn good shots played from some of those bunkers.
Agreed. And I think at the end of the day, for me, like I was bummed that Sam Burns didn't win. He's been knocking on the door, and I think it was his turn. That being said, Ryan Fox was a great choice to win.
Mm-hmm.
It just the way his career has gone, the way he goes about his game. Everyone talked about how quick of a player he is, which I think is awesome. So to me, it was a good outcome for golf, I think, to have somebody like Ryan Fox win.
He'd probably be fun to have dinner with. Hey, Ryan, look at the menu.
Great.
Yeah, steak, potato, boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
I think they were clocking him at like 10 seconds from the time he sets up to the time that he's holding his finish.
Yeah.
He's obviously taking more time because there's all kinds of reels out on social where it's usually 8 seconds, balls in the air.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing I found about Fox was the Claret Jug was in the overhead compartment on the flight home.
Exactly.
That is so cool.
Who was sitting in front of him in the next row, and right in front of him was Cam Young.
Yeah. And by the way, what another great performance by Cam Young.
Yep.
Talk about knocking on the door. I think between he and Sam Burns, there's got to be a major in one of those guys' repertoire next year.
Oh,
okay. It only took me 9 minutes into the show, but I finally got Instagram working. So I apologize to anybody that follows us on Instagram. We're live there. So now I can throw in there. If you're following us on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, and you'd like to chime in, we love audience interaction. Please, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
But can we get to the real thing that the media wants to talk about, and I have a little bit of a different opinion on? Can we go there yet?
Sure, let's do it.
So, all right, I'll give you my hot take first. The ruling was the ruling, and I agree with the ruling. And Bryson could have handled it a little bit better than he did. But I've become obsessed with this, and I've written Now 3 stories about how things are handled in golf media and how fans in golf look. I get it in sport that we like to have heroes and villains and rivalries, and all that stuff makes sport what it is. But golf should be held to a little bit higher standard. I think we shouldn't demonize people based on something like Patrick Reed, for example. He'll always and forever, and granted, I'm not a Patrick Reed fan, but he'll always and forever be known as a cheater, right? And that's the context that the media really digs into to get people to watch. I was disgusted by Golf Channel after the whole Bryson thing. And again, I'm not alleviating Bryson of how he handled things, but how we report on this and how we put it out there, when I say we, the media, really paints unfair pictures on a lot of these guys. You can like them or dislike them. That's beside the point. But this narrative that we continue to see, to me, isn't golf. That's not, I was brought up in the game is a sport of integrity and and just the way that we portray these guys and make them villains. I just don't like it. I just don't like it at all. I think it's a bad look for the game.
Yeah, I'll chime in. I feel like what you're saying has a lot of merit to it, but I also feel like in today's day and age, with all of the external media outlets and things that people are doing on their own, opens themselves up to, the polarizing persona that they have, right? And Bryson has his fans that adore him, and he's got a lot of people that don't like him. I think you throw the live thing in there, and that spices up the stew even more. It just, yep. I agree, Brendan. I just feel like at the end of the day, he seemingly bettered his lie or his swing path, really. Not so much his lie, but his swing path. Nobody knows whether he knew what he was doing when he did that.
Only he does. Yep.
And it's not even worth like speculating on. And that's where people get going off in a tangent of vitriol, where they're crucifying Bryson for, he's stomping down the grass, improving his life. Nah, I mean, look, if you've ever walked in fescue, if you've ever hit a ball in fescue, you high step it in fescue. That's right. What you do. That's how you walk. So it's not as black and white as people think it is.
It's funny. I was watching all the replays, then trying to watch them again on my phone. And then my wife Pam's watching, sees the whole thing happen, sees what's happening with rules officials after, on and on and on. She had a great line. She goes, Bryson DeChambeau play soccer at all? I thought it was just so brilliant. But yeah, it's, Brendan, to your point, it was, all right, something happened, there was an issue, cover it. Okay.
Yep.
John Rahm, he threw a club. Okay. Other stories happened that day. There's a lot happening in the tournament. There's like all this stuff going on, and it's just belabored on this same subject. On like that drove me crazy. I cover it because it's cover. I mean, it's an issue. It's a part of the story. But I was so mad. I turned the Golf Channel off. I'm done.
Well, I missed it live, but like I don't feel like I missed anything. You know what I mean? Right. Like there's other times where I'll miss part of a telecast and feel like, oh my God, I really missed out on a lot of stuff that was going. No, I don't feel that way at all. I just think that this was unnecessarily blown out of proportion.
So I love this tournament, and yet it seems like for 4 days I never was able to watch enough of it. I hardly got to see any of it. But I did get to see this debacle, and more importantly, all the replays of it. And Andy, as an experienced tournament player, here's a couple things I took away from it. You had a small herd of people stomping around over in there before he even arrived on the side to his ball. From my perception, he made one step with his right foot when he was kind of to the playing side of the ball, shall we say, and then he stepped behind the ball. And I guess that's where the infraction occurred. And again, to BE's point, what was his intent? I stand behind the ball, as does most players, when you're intending to see where your line of play is. Is it your swing path, and are you stomping down grass in the fescue? And here's my other question: where was the referee and the rules official that was walking with that group that this had to take place hours later? Those are the things that bounce into my mind.
Our friend Brendan pointed that out in his article.
And Scotty said it too.
Yeah, they have a walking referee. Now, one thing I will say, Alan, is it doesn't matter what his intent was.
Right.
Like whether he did it on purpose or not doesn't matter. So, I think people are getting lost in the weeds on that particular point.
Oh, that's punny.
That was great.
Oh, there you go. Sometimes. But
for all the technical issues, you just saved the show with that one line, Andy.
But again,
Melissa's laughing. She likes it. That was good.
Yeah. But again, I feel like it's very subjective whether his swing path, based on the video evidence, whether his swing path was improved or not. It's subjective, and they made that call, and I would like to think that they made that call without any bias. I would hope that would be the case.
Well, and that kind of, and I'm not saying one way or the other on that. I'm just saying what Scotty said after the fact. Scotty, by the way, he handled it great in the moment when it was still fresh, and then he saved it to talk about when the tournament was over. And his take was something that has long bothered me. And it's not about whether these guys are doing things intentionally or unintentionally. There's rules being broken all the time, and we just never see it. And the guys may not even know it.
Yeah.
But to Scotty's point, when you're a guy like a Bryson or Rory or one of these top players or someone in contention, they say it's protecting the field, but I almost feel like it's a disadvantage to the guys that are under the microscope and on TV from all different camera angles. It's almost like at that point people are looking for things, and I don't like that. To me, the game of golf is a game of self-policing, but in the bigger picture, like major championships, PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, you have the referees, and the guys are usually very, very good on calling stuff on themselves. But things get missed all the time. But now you bring cameras in and replay and all this stuff. And to me, it takes away from that essence of a self-policing game.
That's a great point. And just the one that pops to mind is, I think it was Sawgrass number 16 a few years ago. I remember Hovland was in the group, and because they were on TV, they're trying to dissect where did the ball cross it wasn't even Hovland.
It was.
Yeah.
Daniel Berger hit the shot.
Yeah, right.
Berger hit, okay, but Hovland was in the group, right?
I forget who the other one was. Yeah.
But because they're on TV and the TV's following them at that point in time, there's a further analysis.
Right.
What happened back on number 4 in John Doe's group? We don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, but does that mean that you should not want to get it right?
No, but where is the line? Where is the fairness? It's just, to me, there's not an easy way to figure this out to make it fair and equitable for every player in the field. You know what I mean? It just, so I don't know what the answer is, and I don't want things to be missed, and I don't want guys getting away with things, and I don't think most of the guys want to get away with things,
Do we know how this came to light?
That's a good question too.
Like nobody's mentioned.
I think Craig Statler called in.
So yeah. old towel under the knees, Stadler.
I did hear something. It ended up being a review after the fact, but yeah, to your point, I'm not sure exactly who or what or how it came about, but it was after the fact. It was something with the rules committee that was looking at this, and then Bryson finished. They called him in. Yeah, that's a good. I don't know. That's a good question.
You do wonder, and maybe I forget which one of you brought it up, but it's like when this happens on the 16th hole at Sawgrass, but we don't know what happens on number 4. I think we're almost to the point. Definitely, the Masters, for example, you can see every shot from every player.
True. Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is true in like a Players Championship or an Open Championship. So you just wonder at this stage of the way they telecast golf now, is that even an option? Do they have people watching the tapes on every shot away?
I'm looking for my offsides flag.
Yeah.
And
Where's
that's
the VAR ruling?
That's the other thing too. You think about all the other major sports, the rules book is not quite as complex as it is in golf, right? So, and they seem to have more officials and more reviews going on with far less rules than we have in our game.
They do. I agree with that. And I was going to bring that up when you were talking about that a minute ago. It's like, and I feel like I like basketball, right? So when I watch somebody who's got the ball in his hands and someone else slaps his arm, slaps the ball, and it may roll off the initial guy's fingertips, and the video replay gives the ball to the guy who forced it out, by rule is the right way to do it, but that just doesn't feel right to me. And I think that's where, when it comes to replay and things like this, to me it is a very difficult line to cross or to draw. I mean,
yep.
Andy, what would be the I see a lot of traveling in basketball at the NBA level. What would be the golf equivalent?
Who knows?
Marking the ball on the green.
Like it used to be spike marks, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But marking the ball, Brendan, great example. It is physically impossible to place the ball in the exact same position. It's physically impossible, right? You're talking a ball resting on a millimeter of its surface on the green. So at what point does something become like egregious enough to call a penalty? Who knows?
Yeah.
That's when you call in yip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need some yip.
We need yip.
So let's talk about Scotty. Good performance, great performance, expected performance. Putter falls short again.
God, if he could putt. If he could putt, like it almost sounds like a broken record, but and granted, his ball striking isn't quite what it was the last 2 years. But I'll still say it. The fact that the guy is always top 10ing or better in major championships with maybe his B game just shows, like, to me, that shows how good he really is. Maybe as much as if he's winning everything, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think Scotty, for me, this weekend was pretty much par for the course for him for 2026.
Yep.
I mean, he's there almost every week. And, you know, I don't know, are his putting numbers appreciably worse than they were last year and the year before? I don't know the answer to that. But it just,
it
seems
doesn't
like,
really have to be. It could be just, half a stroke per round.
Yeah.
A quarter of a stroke per round.
Yeah, I think after Scotty misses the Scottish Open, he's got that motivation coming in. Defending champion, that motivation. But I agree, like he's got the Tiger grindingness with him as he plays. It's such a bad cliche, but he's never out of it type of thing. And yeah, I think they made some good comments. I think Brad Faxon was one that said he's trying to, like, at times you're trying to force it, because for that level of player, that greatness, you're not making them like you think you should. So you get that little extra anxiety going. I think you should switch to a lab putter myself. Checking on that.
I clicked the wrong button because I got one last person we need to talk about at the Open Championship, because it's the guy who this week is Andy's "Don't Be That Guy," and it's none other than.
It hurts my heart to do this, but Rory McIlroy got in front of the microphone in this highly tense situation with Bryson and felt the need to say that he's not fond of him. I just don't think that was necessary to have that sort of context in the conversation. And yeah, I was a little disappointed here. So for this week, again, Rory McIlroy, don't be that guy.
Rory literally took the Brooks Koepka eye roll and verbalized it.
Exactly. And what was the point? Like, we all know that, right? We all know he's
that's
not.
Yeah, that's my point. Yep.
All right, Bob.
What about
now? I'll hit the right button. Now I'll hit the correct button there.
Okay. Well, we're going to make a little. We're going to bring two sports together on this question, and it's not the hardest one I've ever come up with on the golf side. But I was trying to think how can we mention and make a little notation about the local 9, the Red Hose, the Bo Sox, that team in Boston that just tied their all-time win streak, 15 straight wins, same as they did in 1946 when they went to the World Series that year. So they made some history. Right now they're a couple of runs behind, but it's early in the game. So I got to thinking, all right, here's that winning streak. And yeah, this is an easy one. Who has the longest winning streak on the PGA Tour, and what year was it?
Oh, I know that.
Byron Nelson,
in the same 1946 season.
Yep.
Is it 39 or 41 or 46? What is it?
Byron with 11 wins in 1945.
45.
That was 46.
That's one of those that will never be broken type things.
Yeah.
It's
Never. Yeah.
Never.
What would Tiger get to? The modern version of that was like 5 in a row, or Scotty, one of those guys.
Didn't Tiger have 7?
I think
7 starts in a row. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, totally agree. Never ever are you going to see anybody break that Byron's record.
Nope.
Andy, you also had mentioned you have one of these, which I didn't think that was possible, but
well,
they're not dead yet. They're not dead yet.
The hits keep coming for the Live boys. This past week, the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, Asian Tour all came together in an alliance to be really all part of the same group, in the sense that now the DP World Tour and the Asian Tour will be feeder tours for the PGA Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour. And where this becomes difficult is that they were the feeders for Live. The Asian Tour was the feeder for Live. So there's no more feeder tour for Live. And that's definitely problematic. I think if you're the Asian Tour and you're the DP World Tour, I think this is a move that you had to make to ensure, that your relevance as a golf tour still stayed, where it is and where it should be. So I think that was one big part of the Live news this week. Ian Poulter has decided to move on from Live, and he's going back to the DP World Tour. John Rahm was making some cryptic comments this week about what his future holds. So this is all coming to a crashing halt here. And we knew it would, but I think everybody's now looking out for themselves. The players are, the other organizations are, and because Live has decided they don't want to continue to participate financially at the level that they have with the Saudi, PIF fund, that, any thoughts or hopes that there was a possible future for the Live Golf Tour is dwindling down to almost nothing.
It's stunning that they're pulling the plug after a reported $461 million in losses.
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah.
So
what do you guys think the road back is, though? For, I mean, yeah, Bobby, I was reading your mind. Like, obviously, there's some of the guys like a Poulter or a Westwood. I really don't see a path other than doing DP World Tour and then maybe doing Champions Tour.
Yep.
But for some of those younger guys like Neiman and Smith and Harold Varner and what is the pathway back? What's the right thing? I don't want to speculate, but I just want to kind of see what you guys think might be a good pathway.
Yeah, I don't know. I said this a few weeks ago, and one of our regular listeners was giving me a bunch of shit for it. No. It wasn't that. It was one of our guest hosts was giving me shit. Mr. Lawrence was. But the point that I was trying to make is those names you just mentioned are some of the more talented professional golfers in the game. And whether you think they belong on the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, or whatever, the fact remains that these guys are professional golfers and will find a place for them to play. And it's just going to be interesting to see what the pathways are. But there's a chunk of really talented, great golfers who will be looking for re-entry into the mainstream tournament golf world.
Well, I think on principle and on precedent already being set, they put it out there. They put out the Phil clause so that he couldn't come back, and those people that chose to do it did. And then they allowed players like, we'll use Patrick Reed, his name will come up again. Patrick Reed goes out onto the DP World Tour, which he loves. He's always played well over there. And he's earned his way back onto the PGA Tour. Why should these guys not be any different? And I'm thinking the Rahm, DeChambeau, Hatton, Neiman. Why should Westwood and those guys? They're on the 16th year hole of their career.
Yeah, but I feel like the one thing we're leaving out of this conversation is all the differences in all the contracts that were signed by all these players. So that Harold Varner's contract admittedly meant a lot to him, but it was way different than Brooks's contract or Bryson's contract. And I think Patrick Reed's contract had expired, and he did the right thing on the front end of, kind of canceling his membership from the PGA Tour. So I think there's a lot of different variables that are in the process of getting these guys re-entry. And I think a lot of the cases are definitely different than some of the others.
So I suppose, Bryson or a few of the guys might go, if they go back to the PGA Tour, they're on that top level, and then some of them go to the bottom level, some go DP Tour. I was thinking the same thing, Brennan, about what happens next, and just more for the player and what's their avenue to play. Totally agree. Some of these guys are probably just going to almost retire. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think their games can sustain back on any tour, really. Well, not about the Champions Tour, but it's going to be fascinating to see how this thing plays out. And I also wondered, does any realm of the PGA Tour say, big breath, we've had to inflate all these millions for these tournaments and these signature events? Is it toothpaste out of the tube? Can they even say, well, now we have to go back a little because they're trying to find some sponsors? They're still concerned about the volunteers, money going back to the charities. So it's a real upside down situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And what about Cam Smith? What about my guy?
What about him though? Like, again, I think people like Cam Smith, when he left, was one of the best golfers in the world. He's clearly dropped in his performance, right? The people that I think about are like Harold Varner, you mentioned. Again, we'll talk about Harold Varner. So whatever pathway there is back to golf, somebody like Harold Varner scratched and clawed to get his way to the PGA Tour.
Yep.
Like, I know he did. He was number 25 on the Korn Ferry list one year just to get in, and then he kept his card. So some of guys like that may not even be able to, if they went back to Korn Ferry, may not even be able to get back to the PGA Tour. Right. Like, there are literally a handful of those guys and there are a bunch of guys on LIV that never had any status anywhere anyway.
Right.
But I think about Harold Varner and those guys quite a bit because, as they say, once you break that glass ceiling and get someplace that you've tried forever, the lore about Mac O'Grady not getting through Q School 13 times or whatever, it's really hard to get through. And once you get through, maybe you get to breathe, you perform, you get to keep your card. But the thought of having to go back and earn your way on for some of these guys has to be really, really daunting.
Andy, I think, do you think Cam Smith, he cuts his hair, shaves his mustache, changes his first name? Don't even recognize him.
Cam McGleno.
I think he could be appearing on the Hawk.
Yeah.
Can we go there for a second?
Yeah.
Can we talk about media and golf and on Netflix and some of the series? We've got the Hawk. We've got, what was the other one with Owen Wilson? I can't even remember that one.
Stick.
Yeah.
Stick. Yes.
Terrible. It was terrible.
I hate to say it, Adam Sandler, but Happy 2 didn't live up to it for me. I mean, what are we doing? Where's the good old days of?
Great question.
Of caddy.
I loved Happy 2 because it was just, and it was already an established, I don't know if you want to call it a franchise because it was only one movie prior, but I thought it was good continuation. I'm a big fan of guys like Will Ferrell and Owen Wilson, but I have no desire to watch Hawk. I'll probably will at some point, but to me it was a horrible spin-off of Happy Gilmore. And again, I'm a Will Ferrell fan, so I feel weird saying that, but I just have no desire to see it.
I had a non-golfer who just literally happened to put it on because she knows that I golf and we see each other in our little tight-knit friends. She said it was worse than Stick.
Well,
I mean, what are we doing?
But at least for all of us fans of the game and working in the industry, it is nice to know that golf is very, very mainstream now, probably more so than it's ever been.
It is, and that's a result of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But just get the movies and TV shows right from the golfing standpoint, because golfers will be like, what the hell is this?
What may be right for us is not what's right for the market.
Right.
It's too much golf forced humor or attempted humor.
Totally agree. I've never been able to put my finger on it, but you're 100% right. That's what it is. It's golf forced humor, and yeah, not
Randy,
really crazy.
Andy, you agreed with me tonight.
I always agree with you, Alan.
Do you agree that Charlie Woods maybe got a little raw deal up at Saucon with cameras going off allegedly?
Don't know.
I saw the clip, and it's just one of those things that he has to learn how to deal with, and I think he's done a good job to a point. But really, I mean, the kid's in a 12 for 1 or something?
14 for 2.
14 for 2, and he's trying and grinding, and somebody takes a picture with the sound on. You could clearly hear it on the clips. That's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, I just think about how unfair this whole thing is to Charlie, but the other side of that coin is it's nice being Tiger's kid too, right?
True. Yeah.
So, you get the good with the bad, and I'm sure there's way more good than there is bad that comes with it. And he has more things to consider with than Miles Russell does, right? So it's
it's interesting how far it's come from the last time. Well, I was going to say the last time. Well, another situation like this when Gary Nicklaus was getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And it came on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yep.
And there's no phones, there's no nothing, but there's one singular cover, and everybody's like, wow, a lot of pressure. Charlie's got to walk around every day with cameras at him at tournaments with cameras. Like, you talk about a difference of, oh my God, a lot of pressure because he was on the cover of a magazine. That's it. I mean, yeah. People might open an event, and now with technology, it's so different.
So I remember we played in a tournament, a college tournament. It was Florida Southern's tournament, and Ohio State came down, and they were playing, and Jack was there following Gary. And you know what? There wasn't a million other people there. I mean, there was Jack and I forget, maybe Barbara was there too. I don't know, but it wasn't like it was paparazzi type stuff. It was just, oh wow, there's Gary Nicklaus, because those two people walking with him is Jack Nicklaus.
You mean golf fans weren't running on the fairway to take a selfie?
They were not.
So different.
All right, 18th green. Final thoughts. Who would like to go first? A democratic way. Well, everybody step up.
I'll go.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, Robert, you were going first. You go.
Okay, a couple of quick thoughts. Well, one was, again, I love the history of the game and love being around the golf shop and seeing people come in and talk about the Claret Jug. And I said, hey, there used to not ever be a Claret Jug with the Open Championship. They're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. I go, no, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. And there used to be a belt, and the winner got the belt. And then I believe it was young Tom Morris won it a few times. So he ended up retiring the belt, and then hence we have the Claret Jug. So,
So it's only 300 years old?
Yeah. But it used to be the belt, which I think is pretty cool. But I don't know, more serious or whatever, but just seeing Ryan Fox, I know you never know how long this is going to last. And for a little bit of time, it's going to be, isn't it refreshing, his pace of play? And I do love that. But I think, and I've always thought this, and I'd love to get Brendan's perspective and the structure coach, and Andy is a golfer, but I do think you can learn from that. I do think you can learn that be decisive, pick a club, and just move and have fluidity into the shot and be athletic and reactive. And that's good for your golf game. These people that debate, and then you're getting there, you're doing 17 waggles and looking like you got no shot now. But I do, and he owns his swing. He's got a quirky, crazy kind of swing, which is great. I love it when there's a tour player that wins a bigger tournament and it's not a robotic swing and they do their thing their way and the pace of play. And I just love with chipping shots and pitch shots and shots around the green. I talk about fluidity and actually a little bit of movement. You're not static and just like a robot, and then you're going to move. So it was great to watch him win.
Andy?
So Saucon Valley is hosting the U.S. Junior Amateur this week. And I was looking at a picture of 1983 U.S. Junior Amateur. Tim Straub, I believe he was from upstate New York, went on to play at Wake Forest, but he won the U.S. Junior Amateur. And I was on the 18th green when he two-putted from 40-some feet to secure the one-up victory. And I'm looking at this picture, and it looks like one of those pictures that you look at like back in the old days where the people were wearing weird clothes and weird glasses. And I'm like, oh my God, I was actually in that picture. I wasn't in the picture, but I was there on that green watching this kid do this. So it's just kind of surreal to think about how much time has gone by. And I remember that vividly. I remember thinking, this kid who was my age just made this incredible lag putt down to nothing to win the U.S. Junior. I thought showed, all the guts in the world. So it's just a weird shot of reality on timing and time.
So we have to make note of this from our good friend Mike Padilla before we sign off, that the reason that Andy did not catch Bryson's little challenge at the Open Championship was he was out there busy winning another Texas Senior West Am. Just another piece of hardware on Andy's shelf.
Yeah, well, this was like a crazy experience for me, if you don't mind me just mentioning that for a second. I shot 9 under for 3 rounds, which I've never done before. I went into the last round, tied for the lead, and had as good a ball striking round as I ever could ask for. So it was an awesome experience. And, we live, learn, and get better, right? So.
Hey, congrats. BE, what you got?
Andy, are you going to build a whole new room for all the awards?
We got to give you little medals. That's what you get in Texas.
Do a Cribs edition of Andy's spot with his trophy room.
Yeah.
Good job, Andy.
Thanks.
My final thought, I know I mention this kid all the time, but my student up in New York, Brevin Bennett, did a twofer in a couple of weeks. He qualified for the PGA Junior Championship, so he'll be heading to Frisco next week. And that was in a playoff to get that last spot. And then a week later, he qualified for the Nota Begay National Championship, which will be on the Golf Channel later this year. So we've had quite the summer, Brevin and myself and his family, of this not even freshman just moving up multiple spots in rankings and having a really good summer. So I'm super proud of him.
That's awesome. Good job, Coach.
Keep an eye on him.
So I clickbaited the other day. Bobby's talking about speed of play. When you operate a golf course near the Jersey Shore, you get the Jersey Shore. So I clickbaited when I saw this article written by, and I'm going to butcher the name, Tim Gavrich on Golf Pass. Should American golf courses start requiring a license to drive, chip, and putt? Recreational golfers in several European countries are required to formally learn about rules and etiquette before being allowed to play most courses. Is it time for the U.S. to step up? So my final thought is more of a question.
Which I think is a great question.
Because
I think people should have to pass some sort of test to be able to go out on a golf course.
B.
Agreed.
Your opinion?
I mean,
Bobby?
There's levels of it, but yeah.
Yeah, if it's a yes or no, I say yes, I agree with this whole concept and some sort of education, some sort of learning, some sort of basics of etiquette, and just understanding, yes, how to conduct yourself. I mean, I've seen so much stupid stuff out there over the years. Last week, I saw some more. It's never ending. It's just frustrating.
I concur. Boys, Andy can take me off the full screen at any time now. Just leaving me hanging out there.
You are doing the sign off, so you got to stay up.
Oh, in that case, we'll see you all next week.